Shabbat Shalom. So this week's Parsha is Parsha Tisa, and it contains within it one of the most monumental mistakes the Jewish people make throughout their time. It's the sin of the golden calf. And in the past, when I thought about this sin, it's always felt a little bit distant. Like it doesn't really feel like something that I think might happen in my life, that I might end up being lured in and start worshiping a golden calf. It kind of feels like something from the past that we look back on, but that doesn't really speak exactly to the challenges that we face in our own personal lives today. But then I looked back at the first verse. It starts the whole incident, and I saw something new this year that I wanted to share with you. So it says, "Vayirah ha'am ki bashesh Moshe." The people saw that Moshe had delayed. And really what that's telling us is that they had waited for Moshe for all these days to come down from being with God and receiving the Torah. And Rashi goes into it and explains a whole different calculation. They counted in one way, they're supposed to count in a different way. But at the end of the day, what it's saying is that they were waiting, and the waiting became too difficult. And they thought that the time was up. They thought it was time to receive what they were hoping to receive. And what they were hoping for didn't come at the time that they had hoped. And when that didn't happen, it's like everything just became an upheaval. Emotionally, they couldn't take it. Spiritually, they couldn't take it. And they made a really bad choice as a result of that. And that really is that waiting for something that you really, really want is really difficult. And that message speaks personally so much to me, and I think to so many of us, that it's really hard to wait for something, especially if we have in our mind a timeline in which we want something to occur. And I've been thinking about this idea of the struggles of waiting. I just was thinking about, there's so many different scenarios that right now people might be going through. There might be people who are waiting for, to hear back from a job interview. There might be people who are waiting to go on a trip, and now that trip has changed. And I've been thinking about the people waiting in the bomb shelters in Israel, like waiting to hear that you can come out, and waiting for life to go back to somewhat normal. And all the people who are in Iran who might have been waiting for freedom for so long, and people who are waiting to hear different news in their life, and people who might have thought something would have happened by a certain time and see that it hasn't. And what kind of challenge does that pose for somebody emotionally and spiritually when you're waiting and waiting and the thing doesn't seem to be coming? And that feels like the pain and the confusion and the struggle that the Jewish people went through in the moment before the golden calf. And while I don't feel like any of us are heading towards the golden calf, I do feel like for us, this struggle of waiting can feel really real and really resonate. And I want to ask us, what does each of us do in those moments when the waiting feels so hard? And I think there's two parts of that question. One part is, do we let go of the thing we're hoping for? Do we say, I've been waiting for so long and therefore it's not going to happen? Or do we say, I've been waiting for so long, I'd really thought, or I'd really hoped it would have happened by now, but I'm going to keep going, even though the timeline is completely different than what I had hoped for. And I think the second part is, while we're waiting, in the midst of it, what can we do to take care of ourselves and to encourage us to make good, healthy choices, not like what happened in this week's Parsha during the waiting process. And so I want to kind of give you those questions to think about for yourself of, are you still walking towards your dream, even if the waiting is taking a lot longer than you expected? And what are you doing to care for yourself during the time in which you are waiting? And I'm going to leave you with a song to listen to that I'll share with you. I'll put a link for it. And it's called L'chakot, to wait. And some of the lyrics in this song, I just want to read you the lyrics at the end. It says, it's talking about we don't want to wait anymore, but we want to be like one with time. And it goes as follows: L'alech ito yad b'yad, to walk with time, hand in hand. K'mo chaver vatik, like an old friend. V'shalom u'ba'ahava, in peace and in love. So I hope whatever it is that each of you are waiting for, that it may come in the right time, b'sha'a tova u'mutzlachat, in the right time, and may it be successful, and may you be able to find ways to care for yourself during the time in which you're waiting. Shabbat Shalom.